last section, we set up some infrastructure for our reusable components to be able to import them more easily. So with a single line, all the components we need, at least for the common ones. We'll now continue by getting set up with Firebase. But before we do, let's answer that nagging question. What in the world is Firebase? What is it going to do for us? So we're going to explain Firebase with this amazingly simple diagram right here, because what Firebase really does is amazingly simple. Firebase can be thought of as an online database that will connect directly to our app. As we develop or publish our app, we can connect to this online data store and be automatically notified of any changes to our data by other users of our application. So whenever some amount of data changes, we can decide to update our different components and present that new information to our users. Firebase is not only about moving data between Firebase, the database, and our application though. It can also be used for analytics, file storage, or the feature that we're interested in right now, authentication. So I can talk all day about Firebase, but it is certainly one of those concepts where you just have to walk through it yourself. So let's sign up for an account and get started. First, I'll open up my browser and pop open a new tab, and I'm going to go to firebase.google.com. Now I'm going to assume that you've already got a Google account, like general Gmail or just something like that account. I'm going to assume that you have one. If you do not have a Google account, you'll need to create one right now. And you can do so by clicking sign up here on the top right. In my case, I've already got a Google account and I've already hooked it up with Firebase. But again, if you've never hooked up with Firebase and you are signed into Google, there should be a link up here that basically just says, yeah, I want to sign up for Firebase. That's it. So once you sign up for Firebase, you'll get dumped at the Firebase Console. So here's the console right here. Your console might look a little bit different. You might see some more text up here on the top left, but basically one way or the other, you want to find a button that says Create New Project. And if you just created an account, I believe it's going to be like right over here on the left-hand side. So all we're going to do is create a new project. That's the goal here. So I'll click Create New Project. And I've already got a project called Auth that I made when I was first developing this application. You can call it whatever you would like. I'm going to call my project just Authentication, just to have something different than Auth. And I will create my project. This is going to take a little bit of time for everything to get set up, but after creating the project, it'll automatically take us to our project dashboard. So the first thing I want to tell you about this project dashboard is that it's set up for a lot of the different features that are included with Firebase. So we've got working with analytics, working with authentication, which is what we care about, database data, storage, hosting, blah, 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 all that kind of good stuff. The other thing that I want to mention to you about using Firebase specifically with React Native, all over the place in the documentation, you're going to see stuff that says, add Firebase to your iOS app, your Android app, or your web app. And of course, React Native doesn't quite fit into any of these single categories. We're going to be using add Firebase to your web app because what this add Firebase to your web app can really be read as is just add Firebase to a JavaScript application. And that is what, oops, not yet. All right, that's fine. And that's basically what we're really doing here. We are adding Firebase to a JavaScript application. All right, so one last thing we need to do here to get set up for our application. On the left-hand side, we're going to find that auth section and click it. And then immediately we get some setup here, and we're going to set up a sign-in method. So I'm going to click Set up a sign-in method, and these are all the different providers that we can use with Firebase. Now, unfortunately, you'll see Google, Facebook, Twitter, GitHub. It would be awesome to do OAuth with React Native, but right now, unfortunately, Firebase does not have great support for using OAuth providers with React Native. So for us, right now, we're just going to be making use of email and password as a authentication mechanism. So I'll click on email and password, and I know this is really small, by the way, but their zoom doesn't do the greatest. Maybe that's better. Okay, so I clicked on email and password, and we are going to specifically say, yep, I want to enable this. Please turn on email and password authentication. So then we'll save, and that's pretty much it. We just enabled email and password as an authentication mechanism. Let's now continue in the next section and get our client set up with Firebase.